there, and welcome to the Couch Next Door, where a happy hour meets a therapy session. I'm your host, Candace Frazier, a licensed professional counselor. Each week, I'm honored to have a friend come sit on my couch, and we'll dive into an area of mental health that is impacting their world. We'll definitely laugh, probably cry, and maybe go on a rant or two, because we are all humans, full of emotions. Come hang out with us. On this episode of The Couch Next Door, I am talking to firewives. So I have Sarah, Darlene, Rachel, and Amber joining me today on my couch, talking all about what it's like to be married to a first responder and what that looks like within their friendship community. What I found so interesting was that these four ladies were such fast friends, mostly because of the lifestyle that they live. I can't tell you how many times I got goosebumps, not only in the interview, but also as I was editing. It was just such a really interesting conversation to observe, to be a part of, and just to really hear the passion and the support and the love that these ladies have, not only for their spouses, but also for each other, and the unconditional support that they have for first responder lifestyle. You may not be a part of the first responder lifestyle, or maybe you are, but what these individuals are talking about today is how you can take steps in forming a community, even when it may feel hard, even when your schedule is consistently inconsistent. You can do it. Just find the first step and listen in to some of the suggestions that these ladies encourage us on today. All right, here's my conversation with the firewives, Sarah, Darlene, Rachel, and Amber. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited for this conversation. We have some firewives in the house today. They've brought their mimosas. They are ready to party. So we've got firewives talking about friendship today, and they're going to go around the circle and introduce one another. My friend is Sarah. That's how we got these girls on behind the mic. So, Sarah, why don't you introduce your first friend?
Okay. Yeah. Hello, Sarah. I'm going to introduce Darlene. Dandrea, because I always say your name wrong, and it's terrible.
Dandrea.
Yeah. Darlene Dandrea. She has been a firewife for 3 years, right? With Round Rock. Mm-hmm. You guys have been married for 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And 2 dogs. Yes. Yeah. And plans for kids in the future. Bless you for not doing that yet, because it's a hot mess. Yeah. Darlene and I met during the spouse conference. So all of us have met at some point in time doing the spouse conference with the Round Rock Fire Department. Mm-hmm. We started that 3 years ago. Rachel will talk more about her lovely husband who started that with mine. But Darlene and I met doing that, and we instantly clicked on projects, things, what we wanted to do, how we wanted to make change. And the first thing I noticed about Darlene, I was like, she gets stuff done.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
She makes it happen. So, yeah.
Very cool.
And great happy hours as well. Darlene's all about the happy hours and planning those.
Just events to, get us together.
It's awesome.
Yeah. You really like to bring people together.
I do.
I love that.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you're really good at it.
You are?
It can be a little stressful at times, but then I'm like, you know what? Everything worked out.
Yeah. Everything works out.
Yeah.
She always has impeccable style and travels really well. Very excited about that.
And she's wearing her pink shoes today that we're all...
They're so cute.
Yeah.
Pink is my color. Every shade of pink.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, and you made me pink.
Pink.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's because of your beautiful skin tone.
Oh, yeah. That's just...
Looks so good on you.
Thanks.
I'm not joking, though.
I appreciate it.
It's true, yeah. Okay, Darlene, introduce your friend.
Yeah, so Rachel Collins.
Hello.
Fabulous friend, spunky, full of energy.
Yes.
Very positive, and I always love your teeth.
Oh.
You always have such a good, big smile.
Thank you.
I love that. I think that's one of the things that people notice right away. It's like, wow, beautiful smile. But Rachel has been married for almost 24 years, 22 years as a firewife. Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
2 badass adult daughters, Ani and Sabine. and 2 beautiful kitties.
Yep, that's me.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm Rachel. Really quickly, I know that I'm supposed to introduce my friend, but before I do that, I do want to just say how we kind of all got together. Now, I've known Sarah the longest. We met when she was just a wee baby. Her and John were wee babies, literally, and her John and my John were playing on the firefighter Olympics on the soccer team. And what I found so interesting was that they really gravitated towards our family, and we had kids, and I was like, why are these single people wanting to hang out with us and our children? I was like, I found that so interesting. And I was like, and they were really interested in our kids, and I was like, they're a strange couple. But I was like, but we've known each other for over 20 years. Over 20 years. And so that's been super cool. But how we all got together collectively is that my husband, John, he thought that there wasn't enough explanation, or that he wasn't a very good explainer of how his day-to-day life was at the fire station. So he really wanted to express that to me, and he calls it his love letter to me, to have created this spouse conference where all the spouses get to come and the firefighters invite their spouses to come and live life in their shoes, literally in their shoes. Wow. So we got to do all of these different activities, all these different trainings, and just like watch our guys doing the things that they love the most. And it was pretty spectacular. And so this is how we all got together. Yes.
Now, is that unique to Round Rock?
Yes.
It's unique to
far.
the service, actually.
It's really unique. And so John did a lot of research on all these different spouse conferences across the nation. And this one is the only one that he has found that's the way that it is.
Where the guys come in and teach us how to do their job, basically.
Yes. Okay. And so it's really hands-on stuff. Other ones, they separate the firefighters and the spouses. They, they do these different things. But like this is like we do everything all together, and it's really amazing. And it's apparently gaining some traction.
Yes,
so.
There is potential for expansion to other departments.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it sounds like that is life-changing almost,
it's very
right?
life-changing.
It's
but now it's expanding so much. So John did the first one, and we've now had 3 years. Sarah, the Tallies were in the first group, and then Amber and her husband, the De Jesuses, were in the second year, and then the De Andreas were in the third group. And so then we all just kind of came together. But aside from that, then the Tallies decided this needed to be expanded even more. And so then now they take on the alumni. So the ones that have already gone through it, they go and do spouse conference, but as alumni, And so, and really it was just a way for firefighters, their spouses, and us as a collective to be closer, just because their work is so difficult, and our firefighters have to rely on each other, like literally with their lives. And so because that's so serious, I think that the spouses needed to have a way to be able to connect with one another and know that they're not alone. That was a really huge thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, that was
I love that
brief
but
explanation.
that's what brought
of
us
how
together.
This is what brought us together, and then it's just kind of like, and we can do this, and it's just expanded into. And so yes, as Darlene said, I've been a firewife for over 22 years, and this is the first time that this has ever kind of exploded like this, where so many people have jumped in to get together and to want to better the department. And so it's really super exciting. Okay, I'll stop talking. But before I do that, I'm going to introduce my super cute friend, Amber, here. So we met at Spouse Conference for the second year, and there was just something about her that I gravitated towards. I don't know what it was. I just... the energy, whatever, we just kind of gravitated towards one another. And she had said to me, she was like, I really like you. And I was like, well, that's good, because I really like you too. But Amber has been a firewife for 7 years, and she is a registered dental assistant. So thank you. Thank you. That makes me happy. And she's been a dental assistant for over 14 years, and now a wonderful, amazing, badass stay-at-home mom. For 2 girls, Noelle, 13, and Adeline, 3, who has the cutest hair.
Oh my gosh, her hair
Yes.
is
The
curly hair.
amazing.
Yes. And, something that stands out about the De Jesus is, like, after the second year, and they joined the alumni group, what was really interesting was that her husband, Daniel, said, I've been sitting and I've been waiting for somebody to start things, and then but why am I doing that? I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just going to go and just start stuff. And so they were the heads of this very, very successful family day that was like department wide. It was really, really amazing. So
We were worried about like 10 families showing up, and 150 people showed up.
Holy
thank you to
cow.
Darlene and her Eventbrite.
Yes.
Wow.
She brought us up
Yeah.
with some technology.
Wow.
Yes.
To get the exposure out,
These
like how are
four
we gonna
definitely
reach?
did a lot to help.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Daniel did a lot to start that. He and Amber did a lot to kind of get it going.
Well, and
spearhead
obviously there's a need, right? Like people want that. If
Yes.
y'all were hoping 10 families showed up and 150 people showed up, like people want this.
Darlene
community.
sent out the Eventbrite. We were like, oh yeah, let's do this. Darlene created it, and the next day we had 100 people signed up already.
amazing.
It was insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because we typically have just the guys word of mouth
Yeah.
and email that gets sent out.
Sure.
That they don't
That
read or
never
share.
gets sent out.
Well, and nobody reads those emails. Like, come on. Like,
No one shares it. No one tells their spouse.
Yeah.
We have the Firewives Facebook page, but not a lot of folks are on there. So
Right.
it's like, okay, how do we expand our reach? I'm like, let's do an event break. That way we can send it out, and
it was
they
awesome.
can share it with
Yeah.
with their families, and boom,
Wow.
it was
That's
amazing.
so cool.
That was the ticket. Absolutely.
We're definitely a group of go-getters, including our husbands.
Yeah.
None of this would be possible without them.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah Talley.
Hi.
We met at the alumni conference, and again, it was one of those gravitational things that just immediately was like, she's awesome. I want to know her better. And her,
Let me say something about that, though. The
What?
first time I met Amber, and this is one of the things I love about you, she was doing something that terrified her.
Oh.
We were about to rappel off a 6-story building, and she was so scared. And I saw the fear on her face, but she did it anyways. And I was inspired so much by that. She was scared, but did it anyways.
Yeah.
And I was like, this one is so much strength in her, she doesn't even know.
Yeah.
And so it just pulled me towards you. Yeah.
and I'm not much of a risk taker, so that says a lot.
But I love that moment with you.
It was
Yeah.
scary. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, you and your husband are amazing. Both of you have super outgoing personalities. You're fun. You say what's on your mind, and you don't give a crap what people say or think about it. And
That
I
becomes
love
a problem
that about
sometimes.
you.
That's how you weed out the nonsense of who's not actually your friend.
Yeah, if someone's going to be offended, they'll back off.
Exactly.
They won't.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 Sarah has been a fire wife for, let me get into my notes right here. Well, she's been married for 10 years, and 20 as a fire wife.
Well, 20 with the person who's now my husband.
Yeah. Yeah.
What does it say that?
That's a long time.
11
I can't even imagine that.
Well, hold on. Let's just. How long have y'all been together?
20 years. We've been together 20 years, and 21 years, and 20 of that he's been a firefighter.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, still, that's a long time.
It's a long time. Yeah.
You and John have 2 rambunctious girls, Layla, who's 7, and Dylan, who's 4. Your little firecracker. Mm-hmm. And an English Mastiff. What's her name?
Dakota.
Dakota.
And you have a new one coming.
In December?
We have a puppy coming in December.
That's
Another
a
English
ginormous
master.
puppy that
God.
you're adding to your
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
It's another child.
Yes.
Few
Yes.
sleepless nights for the first month.
Probably. The girls named her, so it's been very interesting.
What's her name?
Oh yeah. What's her name? Oh gosh. What is it?
Peanut Sky Everest Tally.
Okay.
I love
You
it.
can imagine where those names came from if you've ever seen Paw Patrol.
Right.
There you go.
Yes.
Wow.
I love it.
That's funny.
Okay.
Well, I just want to say, I think that this is a very cool friendship group right here because I feel like each one of us really have our roles to play in our group, within our group.
What are those roles?
I think we all know. Okay.
Inform us. Inform those that don't.
I was like,
No, it's nothing bad. We all already know this. We've got two cheerleaders right here, Rachel and Sarah. They are very outspoken, opinionated, will let you know exactly what they're thinking and feeling, and that's a wonderful thing. It's refreshing in today's world because you don't always get that. Darlene,
in a loving and respectful way, usually.
of course.
sometimes things just come
Sometimes
out.
not, but most of the time.
Yes, in a loving way. I didn't mean for that to sound any
Oh,
better.
no, you're good.
Darlene, you are very chill and quiet at times, but when you have something to say,
It means
it's
something.
of value. Super smart, all the computer stuff.
No, thanks.
And then I think I'm quiet as well. But I just like having fun with my girlfriends and laughing, and I think it just plays its part. Everyone has their own part.
Yeah.
I will say, I feel like everybody's at ease and comfortable in their own skin in this group.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it all resonates with each other, because we just can walk up to each other. We've known each other for a short time, maybe a long time, but we all understand each other. That's why I love being around you.
Yeah.
And I was saying this a little bit earlier before we began that we really have been a friend group for a very short time. You know, when you think about it and the things that we've discussed and the things that we've experienced together. But when you're in the fire life, you have to cut through a lot of that surface stuff because there's no time for that anymore. And so you just cut and you just go straight into the meat of friendship. Either we're clicking or we're not, and we absolutely clicked, and we're okay, we're doing this, and we get a lot of stuff done, and it's really fun.
Well, and I think that's what makes it work, at least with the four of you, that y'all that's sort of the intention, right? That's what y'all want out of friendship. So that's what you were looking for. And so, yeah, it's okay, we're friends now. Let's do the thing. We don't need to beat around the bush.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Okay, are y'all ready to jump into the rant portion?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Okay, all right. Well, who wants to start us off?
I'll start.
Okay. What's your rant,
Let's
Sarah?
talk about these firefighter mustaches situations. Okay, so let's be clear. With firefighters, they cannot have facial hair because of their mask, right? So
Okay.
they can't have beards. They can't let it grow. So they're on vacation if they have any sort of 5 o'clock shadow
Gotcha.
situation thing happening because they don't shave when they're not at work.
Okay.
But what does happen is they go on vacation, they build a beard and a mustache, and then they let go of the beard because they have to, and the mustache remains.
Because they can have a mustache?
Yes. So as of 2 years ago, 3 years
just
ago,
can't impede with the
mouth.
the seal of the
air mask.
Okay.
So before they could only have it a certain way and they couldn't let it grow down, and recently that policy changed, and now you see all these crazy handlebars, and my husband right now, I don't know if you've seen him
I've
recently,
seen it. It's
one
pretty
down the
incredible.
chins,
Yeah.
and I'm like, dude, half of that's gray. How is that even a thing? But also, here's the thing. As being a spouse, I have to kiss this man, and his hair goes in my nose on the regular. And so I'm like, I can't make out with you without having hair in my nose, and it's gross. And that's the rant that I have. It's I love this. You look great in it. Fine. But the function of it, I don't.
Right. Well, and you married a firefighter thinking no facial hair.
I mean, when I met my husband, he had fro hair situation. Yeah, I know. You guys all say that.
too.
Yep. Did fro hair and didn't have facial hair. But anyways, the mustache is just a lot. But I see a lot of them.
It's
lot
like
of
that
the
now
guys
that they
have them.
can.
Yeah,
they're
a lot
all
of the guys,
in.
You
Yeah.
know, you see a first responder when they have this huge ass mustache and they can't do anything else with their face. That they're a first responder. It's
Okay.
a thing. Yeah,
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know how y'all feel about
So
that.
the rant is you think it looks fine. You just don't like kissing.
No, I don't like the
mustache.
functionality of
Okay,
it. I'm
yeah.
like, this. Why is this?
any of it.
They're so
okay.
excited about it. They're like a kid in a candy store about some stupid hair thing on their face. I don't understand.
They're excited about pubic hair, is what you're saying.
I was thinking it, but I didn't know if I could say it. But
I said it. I said it.
You have the texture of pubic hair on your face, and you're excited, and so
Much.
looking forward to it. Yeah. So that's my rant. It's like I don't get it.
Okay, so do you all agree with the mustache? Do you like the mustache, Darlene? You like the mustache.
Like the mustache. Okay. When I first met Ryan, no mustache, baby face, no facial hair, nothing.
Okay.
But then he started, letting it grow in.
I like the way it looks, though.
Yeah, and I'm like, it looks good on him. Recently, he did shave it off because he just wasn't happy with the way it was growing. It was kind of a little patchy. Sorry, my love. He was like, does this look good? Should I shave it off? And I'm like, yeah, I think it's time to, restart. So he shaved it, and now it's growing back in, but he's taking care of it. Like, he has his whole routine with the oils and the wax and everything.
Yes.
And sometimes I kiss him, and I'm like, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I didn't want this excess,
oil,
grease or whatever the
chapstick.
heck it is, all over my face. But I'm like, thanks. But I think it looks really good on him. And he doesn't go overboard. It's not like he does the handlebars and everything.
Yeah.
Which, hey, some guys, more power to them. But I think he looks sexy.
I think it looks. Let me clarify. I think it looks really sexy on him for whatever reason. I didn't expect that, and it does.
This is
Just the
fascinating
function
to me.
frustrates me.
Yeah.
Funny.
I find it very interesting how we're on such different points of the spectrum on this. Like, I don't like it at all. Like, not even kind of. Not even a little bit. And so when he starts with the Movember mustache or whatever, I'm like, so basically what you're telling me is you don't like kissing me. That's basically what you're telling me by growing this. This is what it's indicating to me. And then he tries to get like really ridiculous, and he starts, and he'll start to, and he knows this, and he's gonna listen to this and laugh. But he'll like find the most ridiculous way to have a mustache. So he'll like let his face grow, and then he'll like make a line from his ear to his mustache and the line, and he'll just like crack up, and I'm like, I can't even talk to you. Like, I can't even look at you and like have a serious conversation with you. Like, I just have to turn my back and be like, I don't even know what to say.
It's like he does that on purpose.
Yes, and then he just giggles. He thinks it's hilarious to make it as ridiculous as possible. That's funny. I like it.
Can that be the
very pokey.
cover of our podcast?
Oh, his like
That's ridiculous mustache. Yeah.
We could put them all on the same like a page together, like cuts of just their mustache.
yeah.
Who's
Oh
who.
my gosh, that'd be hilarious.
Okay,
I
so
love it.
do they only do this in November? Or like they started in November?
But that starts a lot of them.
The mustache.
The
Creating
process.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm with Rachel.
Oh, you
I
don't like it at all? Okay.
At all. I don't find it attractive. I've never been attracted to men with facial hair.
Mm-hmm.
So, when Daniel decided to do this a few months back, okay, let me back up. My husband is half Puerto Rican, so he is hairy. Hairy. Everywhere, except when he tries to grow a mustache. Poor guy. And he will tell you this himself, so I don't think I'm going to get myself in trouble by saying this. But it's very patchy as well. But for some reason, this time around, the hair is just growing, and he refuses to trim it.
Oh,
So
like this.
he tells me that he chews on his hair.
Gross.
And I'm like,
They do that.
babe,
It's weird.
That's
let me get the little scissors that you ordered with your wax and your comb and all your the kit that you ordered. Let me just trim it up because it's a mess. And he's like, nope, that messes it all up. I need the weight of it to train it to go in the right direction.
my
Like,
goodness.
they're serious about it.
They are. Yeah.
And Puckett, y'all know Puckett, a good friend of a lot of us. He's another fellow firefighter, excuse me. He texted me the other day because I told Daniel that he needed to trim it off by Christmas. And I get a text from Puckett the other day. No! Exclamation point. That's it.
And Puckett's had a mustache for years.
Oh, big
I don't think I've
handle.
ever seen
Like,
him without
that's a
one.
serious big handlebar mustache that Puckett has. Yeah, and so he was getting on to me for telling Daniel that he had to get rid of it by Christmas time. It's like, all right, thanks, babe. I see what you're doing, getting me in trouble.
So who's going to win? Puckett or you? I mean...
I actually said that he could keep it.
Oh, okay. You're a good
Because
wife.
it makes him happy.
Okay. Oh, you're such a good wife. Wow.
I'll get over it.
Maybe secretly you do like it.
Yeah. Maybe.
I really don't
Maybe.
like the feel of it.
I don't.
I really
Yeah.
don't.
It takes some getting used to.
You know what? He can keep it for several months, and then I'll be like, okay,
All right.
it's time. Spring, March, time to clean it
Banquet
up.
time.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
I guess
Done.
I'm just not a good wife. Because I'm always like,
Trying to kiss him.
trying to avoid any sort of like pokey hair in my face. Don't like it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the schedule, because I know that is probably another rant that we could go on, or I don't know, like inform us listeners, what is the schedule
So
like?
with the schedule, what was it? 2 years ago that they did switch.
We were trying to. It was like
It's a year ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
up until a year ago, they were 24.48.
And this is just in Round Rock that they changed.
Yeah.
Other departments are doing similar things,
But we're talking
just in
specifically about
yeah.
Round Rock. Okay.
So up until a year ago, they were doing 24.48s, which is 24 hours on shift, 48 hours off, and then overtime, kind of where that sits. And I will tell you, as someone who was doing it for 20 years, I never got a weekend unless he asked off.
Right.
I never got, more than one day. We couldn't take a trip. We couldn't do things
Unless you took vacation.
unless you took vacation, or and they weren't always guaranteed that. And people that don't know their schedule, we have a year calendar that we have to schedule out. So every November they do their vacation picks for the entire year, and so they have to know kind of what their schedule looks like. So it
But
just
also,
makes
it's not just that you can't just like select it because your rent.
your range
Right,
depends
right.
on what
With
you get and what you don't
seniority and stuff
get,
like
and
that.
so sometimes you won't get certain things, and so it was really hard to do it that way. But also, they come home and spend a day where they're trying to decompress and get rested, and so you lose them for a day. You only have them for basically
they're
one
home,
day,
but they're not actually
and then they go
functioning.
back. So this new schedule, I will say, it's less of a rant for me because it's been a good adjustment. So now they're on a 48-96 schedule, which is 2 days on, 4 days off, and they can add overtime in there. But there is a couple mandatory overtime days that they have to have just so that everything's covered. And so they pick mandatory overtime days that, in case they have to stay, they know they're going to stay when they do their vacation picks every
But there's
year.
mandatory overtime because there's a shortage.
Yeah, so they
And
have
that's a
shortage.
rant, too.
That's a rant.
They're trying
'Cause
to
our
make
guys
that
are tired.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I will say with the schedule, it's hard sometimes because sometimes they do have to stay or sometimes they have to be there and you're like, well, gotta do what I gotta do. And you have to rearrange all your things in your life to kind of make it work. And I think that's also why we relate to each other because we all understand that struggle.
Right.
And that annoyance.
Where we'll have like something scheduled and we'll be like, can't show up. Someone got mandatory.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
often it's last minute.
It
It's
is. Like the day
you know,
of.
the BC calling at 6:30 in the
Yep.
morning. Hey, can you be here in an hour?
And you're like,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
so it's you're always having to, you have a schedule, quote, quote,
Right,
schedule,
right.
but then you always have to be ready for it to change at any moment and to like rearrange the entire day or event to be able to cover what needs to be covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, that's
It's
stressful.
hard. It's
Constant.
hard because, like, for me, most of the time I am completely okay with the overtime situation or him being called in for overtime. But then some days I'm like, this is not the day for that.
Yes.
Like, I need you here at home. I want you here at home. The kids need you here at home. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's never just a 100% okay.
Yes.
It's okay.
Right.
I understand.
There's
This is
always
for
a
the
little-
kid.
I've always
Yeah.
said that it's
Yeah.
consistently inconsistent.
Well, and there's always a little bit of resentment with that because in terms of being able to control that, we don't always have control over that. And so I think that for me created a lot of resentment and I have to sacrifice my family and my time and my person that I chose to live with and spend my life with because you need him.
Yeah.
And so it would create a lot of frustration and upset.
Yeah.
But I couldn't express that because then I turned into someone that's like complaining about it.
Right.
Right.
Right. Well, yeah, because there's not anything to do about that. It is
Exactly.
what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something you understand.
Sure.
You
But you
don't,
don't
have to
like it. Yes.
And you can be really pissed about it, but you understand that that's what's happening. And you're just
right. Yeah.
like, here we go.
So collectively, are y'all prefer this schedule now?
Oh yeah.
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 Well,
Okay.
Well, Well, so John got promoted to battalion chief, and so he's no longer on shift schedule.
Okay.
He is admin, which means that he's like 8 to 5. So he's home every night. So after 22 years
that's an adjustment.
as a fire wife on the schedule, he's home every night, and I was like, oh, this is really great, and it is really, it's helpful, you know. I didn't realize how much I missed, like, not talking at the end of the day and just watching all of my girly flicks in peace and quiet, in peace and quiet. And also I thought, okay, he's going to be here every day, 8 to 5. That means more time home. That's not what that's translating to.
Okay.
That means that he's constantly working in his brain. And so we find ourselves more in passing, like ships in the night passing, you know, because like we're like sharing logistics, you know. I changed my job a couple of years ago, and I travel more. I used to be home, but once the girls graduated, he was going to be home more. I was going to travel, so he's kind of constantly gone. I'm traveling. I'm still trying to figure out how to schedule everybody, and it just makes it's just a little bit hard. And I think that we haven't really been able to adjust to it, or it's not what we were expecting. We were expecting more time, but that's not necessarily how it's translated into.
Well, and I will say, we just got back into that. So John was on the training schedule for the last year. So he went and helped with the training group and was on the same schedule that Collins was on. And so we went through that same thing. I was like, oh, he's going to be home all the time. It's going to be great. And I was like, oh, wait, no, that's not what that means. Yeah. That means you're constantly doing work. And you come home and are exhausted and you're not really here. And then you go back and then you complain about the commute, which I'm not going to talk about, but yeah, I said, welcome to the rest of the world that has a commute. And so, I mean, it really wore on him. And so now we had to go back to shift schedule. And I, like you, Rachel, didn't realize how much my time was important to me in having those nights where you just sit and watch TV by yourself and you do something on your own. And his time by himself, he didn't really have that either because I was home all the time. Right. So,
I mean, it sounds like it's just constant flexibility, constant adjustment, constant, like...
On both parts,
on both.
Totally.
You know, it's always it's just really interesting to because like we were talking about, like you think that you envision what it's going to be like, right, and then you get into it and you're living it day to day, and you're like, this is not what we thought that this was going to be. Like I thought you'd be home more. I could like release some of the things to you so that I could go and do you know, like what I need to do for my career or whatever. And it's just kind of like it's awkward. It's just kind of like bumpy.
More complex.
It's bumpy. Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, before we jump into the questions, like because this is a mental health podcast, how does that affect y'all's mental health? Like having to do these mental gymnastics constantly. I mean, not because the men aren't here, right? The firemen are not here. So as much as 100%, they've got to do a lot of mental gymnastics as well. But we're here talking to y'all and what this is like for y'all.
Well, here's what I'll say, just because you got me on this topic, and I feel like I'm transitioning professionally into supporting this space because I think it's so important, because we understand it, but coming into it, like Rachel said, you have no idea what you like. You know what you envision, but when you get into it, the complexity and the conflict that you are dealing with all the time, because what happens is, like, for an example, they'll call about overtime. Hey, I got overtime for this. Are you okay with it? And you're stuck with saying, yes, I want that. No, I don't. But here's why. And you're in conflict with, am I going to be selfish in making the decision for myself and what I want for my kids right now? Or am I going to think about what he needs to do to serve other people because that's his job?
Sure.
And so I think
provide for our family.
And provide for our family, because, you know, they do overtime and that is extra money. And so I think that's the hard part, is you're in a lot of conflict of, I need to be able to take care of the home front and do all the things and be strong about it, but I'm also fragile in that space. And it's hard, and there's a lot of internal conflict that I don't think the guys were really aware of until we really did the spouse conference. I mean, that conversation never came up, and then we're in a space with a room with the multiple people who are in the same thing, and they're like, oh, this is a thing. So I don't think that conversation is had enough.
Well, it's like intellectually, you know, okay, this is what their schedule is going to look like, but not until you're in it do you really understand emotionally, mentally how that's going to impact you, impact your relationship, impact the family.
Well, and I think that's why we relate to each other so well, and we value these friendships so much because we understand it instantly. We don't even have to know each other. Instantly, we know what each other deals with.
It's an instant bonding, instant connection.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. For sure. Okay. Did you have anything else to say you like
No.
about the mental health? Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure that I think too much about it because there's no time to think about it, which is not a good thing because you should be thinking about those kinds of things.
Well, but I think you just have to deal with it, right? Like I don't even know what is thinking about it. Thinking about it may not do anything.
I mean, like you know, I think that there's times when I'm like, I think that it would be really beneficial for me to like have a counselor or to have, you know, to seek that out. But I'm like, but have I done that yet? I have not because I don't have time to.
Yeah.
And that's a poor excuse because you really do have to. You have time for the things that you make time for, right? And so I just haven't done that yet.
Well, but
I probably think I should.
But I think to Sarah's point though, like y'all probably provide a lot of that mental support just organically, you know? I mean,
Absolutely.
because y'all just understand. You don't have to call one of these women and say, "Oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe." No, they already know. There's no, you don't, like everybody knows this is the deal. This is the gig. So I think that helps that you don't have to explain that.
That's true.
I think that's good for mental health, honestly, and community. Yeah.
That is probably why we get along really well.
Yeah.
But we all know, like, everyone has different, you know, life experiences, and we're all in different stages of life. Like, my husband and I, we don't have children yet.
Right.
You know, we want to. So I'm still trying to figure out, like, well, how am I going to navigate that? Like, I work from home, but that doesn't mean that I can raise a child by myself.
Sure.
I need help.
Yeah.
So I'm like, damn, what am I going to do on those days when he's not here and we don't have a sitter or whatever the case may be? So I think it's nice when I see, like, these women here, they've all gone through it, and it's like, shit.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to
You'll
be
be
calling
able
you
to.
when,
We're right.
Yes.
you know, whether it's a crying session or just
Yes.
like, I think we all have these, like, shared experiences, and to your point, like, we just know.
Yeah.
We don't have to explain it, like, oh, this is how I'm feeling because this happened.
You're like, I get it. And this, and this, and this. All totally normal.
And how can I help?
We got you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
got you.
And almost like that. I mean, I'm a therapist, but that's almost probably better than therapy, if I'm being quite honest, because like y'all can just show up for each other. Like if you had a therapist, she can't come and bring you a meal because your husband got called to overtime. You know, like I think this is a community of people that gets to be unique and gets to understand without the words and just showing up. You know, and I think that's super valuable and something I don't know that people really acknowledge about this sort of like lifestyle.
Well, and I'll say we're lucky in the sense that the department that our husbands work for actually acknowledge that that is a space that they need to support more and are in the process of doing that. And there are departments out there that don't do that.
Sure.
And so I think that's why I've become so passionate about it, is because we have some support in that space and more people across the country need that.
Yeah.
Sure. Totally. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we've already kind of talked about like how y'all got to know each other, like the connections. We've sort of touched on this, but like really when we're talking about the uniqueness of this lifestyle, what brings y'all together? Like what is it about being a firewife that brings this, you know, brings y'all together as a community?
There's no fakeness. Is that a word?
Yeah.
There's none of
Authenticity.
that. It's just, this is who we are. You take it or you leave it. We can be real with each other, 100%, 110% honesty at all times, I think.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a very unique friendship that we're able to have with all of these other fire spouses.
Yeah.
I think, too, the dynamic is I know each of these women has something powerful about them that they have to live this lifestyle.
Yeah.
And
That's
for
a really
me-
good point.
That gave me goosebumps.
Yeah.
For me,
Really
that
good.
is something I want everyone that I meet to know is like, these women are powerful, they just don't know it. Because they just flip it on like a switch. Like
It's
I
just
told-
natural. You have to.
Yeah, I told my husband the other day, I was like, I didn't realize this until I talked about it and thought about it, but when they leave, we immediately turn into someone else. We morph into another part of ourselves because we have to.
Yeah.
And so it turns into an automatic, and I don't think any of us ever think of it like
No.
that. It just happens.
You just do
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And so I didn't think about that until I had to explain it to someone. I was like, oh, yeah, that happens.
You're right. I mean, yeah, I'm like, I never really thought about it that way, but my aunts, they'll ask me, what do you do when he's gone? Like, how do you deal with that? I'm like, I don't know. I just do. I'm like,
You have no other choice, right?
Yeah, they're normal.
Yeah, and it's like, what do you do in your free time? I'm like, I do me. I go and get my nails done, my hair done. I go get a massage. I hang out with my girlfriends.
I need
Like,
to do that.
you know, like,
Yeah, this is what you do before you get kids.
But you still do that.
exactly. Pre-kids. Now, I feel like, I don't know, I'm still going to prioritize that after kids because it's important.
You should.
It is self-care.
Self-care.
You
Absolutely.
should.
But it's like, no, you just need to figure out, like, what do you need to do, plan your routine, and just know that this is part of life. Does it suck? When they're
Sometimes it
gone,
does.
especially on the weekends. Like, I work Monday through Friday. So on the weekends, like,
When you go to
home.
events.
Yeah.
You
Right.
go to events and they're not there.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's some times when he's working, like, every weekend and I can't do something. Or the holidays.
Yep.
Yes.
Like, he's not there. Like, this Thanksgiving, he won't be there.
Yep.
And it's like, well,
Yeah.
sorry. Like,
You just celebrate
Yeah.
holidays on a different day.
Sure.
Yeah, they're not about
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
I feel
It's a
like
different day.
you're like,
They can't be this lifestyle.
Well,
Yeah.
one of the things that that bonds us together is that like the bad things always happen when they're on
oh my
shift.
God, yes.
Always. It's
Hands
no
down,
lie.
that is what happens. Like
Okay.
they're on shift and some emergency has happened, and you're like, "Oh my gosh!" What am I gonna do? Like there are times when I've had to like call other families, going, "Okay, this has happened. Do I need to take the kid to the hospital? What do I need to do?" They're like, "It's okay, Rachel.
Something breaks.
It's totally fine," or whatever. But I mean, but I will say, like this group, yes, there's no like pretense. There's, we can all get together. But I would have to say that I haven't always felt that, closeness in the fire family. As John, promoted up the ranks, there were more and more people who would approach me less and less because I'm an officer's wife.
Sure. Okay.
And so, except for people who I've known for 10,000 years, like Sarah,
Remember
she's
back
all
in the
like, Collins, what's up? And, like no matter what the rank was, but there were lots of people who just wouldn't talk to me. And I was like, but I'm me, and I'm fun sometimes. Yeah. Like, I want to hang out. Yeah. And what I loved about Darlene and Amber is that there was no pretense. Neither one of them ever said, like, oh, well, it's my officer's wife. I'm not going to hang out with. Like, nobody said that. And
we're
I was
all
like,
human at the end of the day.
I know. I'm like, I'm just me. And I was like, and then I'm thinking, like, me and John, like, seriously? Like, I was like, we're the least, like, ooh, I'm the whatever.
Right, yeah.
And so that really helped me as well, finding people who didn't see didn't see that first, saw us first and not that.
Yeah.
The other.
Well, and so even with this uniqueness, I mean, we're not talking about it, but like your husbands are literally going into the fire, right? I mean, or they could be. So is there like worry? Is there anxiety? Like,
I'll be honest, in Round Rock, the biggest thing I'm scared of is someone on the side of the road hitting them.
Exactly.
okay.
Because they do more wrecks and medical calls. Because Round Rock's newer, so the structure fires aren't as big of a thing.
Okay.
But I'm terrified of someone being on 35 and being an idiot and not paying attention, and my husband's a casualty of that.
Because it happens.
It has happened.
Okay.
And that's the biggest fear that I have is just people not being aware and understanding the nuance of why they have a truck that blocks 2 lanes.
Sure.
And it's not to inconvenience and piss people off. It's to keep people safe.
Sure.
So I think that's the thing that I tried my hardest to tell my office at work. I'm like, listen, y'all, when it's raining, don't be an idiot because my husband has to go save you. Please don't do that. So.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, is that something part of this community, or is that just like one of those unsaid things, like the worry, the stress of them doing this work?
I think we worry, but to me personally, I try and block it out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's you probably kind of have to.
Well, they do a lot of training too.
A lot of praying.
Well, and you know, and like I guess, and people have asked me this lots of times, like, aren't you scared that he runs into a fire? And I'm like, I mean,
They're trained.
I
They're trained.
I
don't
guess
get scared about that.
if they were
honestly.
hesitant, I was like, but they're in their element. Like
They're like,
let's do this. They're so excited.
So excited about
Like it's
it.
like they're like yes, and they're so excited about it that you're like they're doing their thing. Like no, and so no, like if they were like, ooh, I'm not sure, but like then I would feel more worried. I was like, but this is what they love to do, and you can see it in their faces. They're so excited, and so you're
They're
like
like giddy.
like okay, you're all good.
They're excited
Just come
about
home
it.
safe.
They
Just come home
love their
safe to
job
me.
and they're happy about it. I think I worry more about their mental health
Yes,
than
Because what they see.
anything. Yeah, because
Sure.
of things that they
Sure.
see, like
Yeah.
the stuff that they walk up on and what their brain has to protect. I worry more about that than them running into stuff.
They do have to compartmentalize, these things, obviously, right? Because they see people at their absolute worst, right?
Everybody's worst day is their normal day.
And so it's really hard to figure out as a spouse how to support that. That's where I get really worried, where I'm like, am I doing what I need to do for you to help support you in decompressing or compartmentalizing these different events and I was like, and I've encouraged, like, don't wait until there's an issue, because once you think that there's an issue, there's been an issue long before that. Let's be proactive and preemptive in this approach. And
Well, and to Colin's credit, this spouse conference has created a lot of opportunity for these conversations to come up. John and I have been together for 20 years, and in the last 3 years, we've had the best relationship that we've ever had because I'm able to see a different side of him and see. This is going to make me all emotional, but I see John the firefighter. Who I never get to see, who doesn't walk in my door. And now I see that, and it's a whole different person, and I have a whole other respect for who he is. And so, things like that, the spouse conference gave me that. And I think we're doing more programming to help with that.
I want to ask you guys, like you've said this, Sarah, but Darlene and Amber, through the spouse conference, my husband gets really emotional in these things, and he just starts crying. It's adorable. And he just starts crying. He's like, "Oh my god, I don't know why I'm so emotional." And I was like,
it.
"You
I
are
love it, though.
more emotional than usual." I will admit. Yes.
So cute. It's so cute.
But like for him to be like he has done this. He's been in the service for a very, very long time, and to be very vulnerable about that, I think that he opens it up to be okay.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
For
Especially since he's a
others to
leader.
be vulnerable about that, and I love that. I love that.
Yeah, that's
I
so
do.
good.
My husband, Daniel, has made it clear, because I've asked him, honey, I'm here. If you need to talk about anything that happened at work, just anything that's in your mind bothering you, just let me know. And he is always good to say, if I need to talk to someone, I know I have you, and I know that Round Rock has provided the people. Round Rock Fire Department has provided the people that we need to be able to vent and have counseling and talk about things that have happened. And I love that about the Round Rock Fire Department.
And they also have a culture of talking to each other. The guys can debrief at the station and just say things to each other. They don't necessarily have to do it with a mental health person.
Right.
So I think they've created that culture.
Absolutely.
Over the last 5 to 10 years, that's gotten better, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I imagine, like, even what y'all are saying, they have to compartmentalize. So when they come home, they're still compartmentalizing. And even kind of what you said, Sarah, like they're not bringing that home because they don't want to, right? Like that's the last thing that they want to do is to keep thinking about that. But then what is that doing to their own mental health? So yeah, I mean, for them to have that community and those resources. But yeah, that's just, again, the mental gymnastics of everybody and all the things that you have to deal with.
I'm sorry. We've talked about this before.
Yeah, we have.
They know what they can come home and talk to us about.
Yeah. Okay.
If it's too
They can't
much,
talk to all
if
of
it's too serious, they know that they have the resources.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Like Daniel was saying that in the other podcast, and he was like, "Well, I have a wife who doesn't."
I'm super sensitive.
And I was like, "Me too."
I'm like, I don't want to know about the blood.
And there's so many things that he doesn't say, but I'll overhear him talk about things, and I'm like, "Who did what?"
Yeah.
And so then I'll just obsess about these different things. He's like, "This is why I don't tell you these things. This is why I don't say these things." And I was like, "Okay, but are you talking to somebody about them?"
Right.
I mean, I know that I'm a basket case, but is there somebody else that you can talk to about this? I was like, I want to support you, but don't tell me these things. Yeah.
But
I am not a first responder.
Yeah, but I'll say too, John has given me like a warning kind of whenever he's come home and had a bad call, right?
Yeah, that's good.
When
Yeah,
we first had Layla was probably not even a year old. No, maybe almost 2. And he had a bad call with a kid Layla's age.
Oh my gosh.
And he came home, didn't say anything. John's not a man of many words.
Right. Yeah.
But came home and said, "Hey, I had a rough call. If I snap at you in the next couple weeks, this is why. Don't take it personal." And it's that type of thing that he lets me know.
That's good.
If I go off on you, it's not because of that. Because it was like a bathtub situation and, and he's very strict about some of those things.
Sure.
But he explains, like, this is why I have this preference on this. And this is why I get upset. Because he doesn't get upset. But I've seen it and I'm like, whoa, who was that?
Yeah. You're like,
Yeah. I'm like, you snapped into another whole person and I don't know who that is. And he's like, this is why.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, every now and then I'll be like,
helpful.
how was your night? And I know what my day is going to look like. I tell them this all the time. I know what my day is going to look like when I'm like, oh, how many calls did you have? How much sleep did you have? Who's the zombie that's walking in my door?
Yeah.
And exactly, as soon as they walk in that door, they have this look.
Yeah, they do.
Like
they
they
do.
had it good, or it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Do not talk to this man right now.
Let him sleep for
Give
6
me some
hours.
time.
Yeah, and Ryan is really patient.
He
Super
is.
nice guy. But I remember one time he had just a rough night, and I'm talking because I'm excited. Like, it's the weekend, like, you're home. Like, I have so much to tell you. And he's like, do you always talk this much? And I'm like, who are you? I'm like,
no.
okay. I was like, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go cry now.
And by the second he said it, he was like, shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. Alrighty. It was that type of shit. So, and I mean, like, I don't take it personally. Like, I get in my feelings. And then I'm like, all right, you know what?
Yeah.
He's had a rough night. Like,
There's a reason why.
Yeah.
let him do his thing. Like, he's going to go decompress. He's going to go take a nap. If he wants to talk about it later, great. If not,
See, I didn't know this was a thing, but when we go to parties, like we were like hang out with families and it's like maybe 20 people, John he's not comfortable. He doesn't like it. If it's our people, he's good. If it's Round Rock firefighter people, he's fine. But if we go to a birthday party and 20 minutes in, he's like, I gotta go. And I used to get annoyed by that because I'm like, what's wrong with you? Be social. What's wrong?
Yeah.
He gets overwhelmed and he can't do it.
Yes.
But I didn't know that until all of these things started happening. You know?
Yeah.
So until we had those conversations. But they have weird things that they do. You're like, what the hell's wrong with you? And it's like, oh, you do this for a living.
I love that you said like it's this look, and you're like,
Yeah.
got it.
The look.
I mean, y'all are essentially, like, you'll have to have, like, mental health exams going on constantly.
You do.
Like, what do they look like? What's the sort of vibe going on to really know, like you said, what's walking into my door?
Well, and bless their hearts, they try to shield us from that so
Totally.
much. All
Yeah,
of
true.
them.
Yeah.
Every single one that I've met has always tried to shield their family from what they deal with at work. And it's like, don't do that. Let me in. Let me support you.
Yeah. Okay, so conflict. Do y'all get into conflict? What does conflict look in this group?
With our spouse.
No, with each other. With each other. I'm sure you get into conflict with yourself. Get in conflicts?
I don't know.
I don't think we do.
Well, not that
We don't.
I don't think we've known each other long enough to be in a conflict.
We've never been in a conflict, have we?
No.
We've had conflict around us.
We have not had any conflicts, and I think that has to do with the realness that
Yeah.
we are able to have with each other.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone's unhappy or unsettled about something, we just will say it.
Right.
And it's not taken personally, I think, hopefully, because it is that honesty and trueness that comes out that hopefully nobody will get too hurt over things.
Yeah.
And if we are,
Man, I haven't
that's
heard that in a
okay
while.
too. We just talk about it.
Well, right now, I think that we do a lot of like event kind of things or logistic types of things. And I was like, but I hope that we become a group that does other stuff too, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
I think this is building more like hangout opportunities too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. Because our guys, they love the heck out of each other.
they do.
they really do. So that's the thing is like, I think in any friend group, like minds attract like minds, right? And so here we are, and we're like, okay, let's do the newsletter, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, let's make this happen, let's collaborate, let's do all these things, and our husbands are the same way, and so like, but there are other people who are like, who don't like to do that, and who will take it back, who will take a back seat, and you know, there are places for everybody, and whatever. Not everybody's going to exactly like not everybody's going to jump in, but then it's like, okay, then you have like these different friend groups, just like everywhere. You can't be like or liked like everyone, you know. I think that
Well, and I'm even thinking too, like y'all all have to practice giving the benefit of the doubt to your spouses, right? And so you're not taking things personally, or you're trying not to take things personally at home. So that carries over in your friendship. So if somebody has a tone, you're just like, yeah, whatever, she's dealing with some stuff. Like you're not going to take that personally if that ever comes up. And I think to your point, Amber, y'all have established a foundation where you're real. And so we don't have to have all that nonsense part of it, because it just isn't like
the drama.
The drama's just not there.
Well, and I think if one of us is like, too, hey, so-and-so's having a bad day, like we all understand what that day could look like. And so I think we relate a lot faster to each other, I think.
Yeah, that's really good. That makes sense. Okay. What would y'all say y'all have learned about friendship, being friends with one another in this community?
But you don't need a long time to have a good friendship with someone.
wow,
Well, just like us.
good one.
Yeah.
Don't.
You
You can instantly connect with someone and how they make you feel about yourself and about life. There you go.
Yeah. That's good.
You know, sometimes, I mean, you know, I think I wrote in my submission that, like, you have friends that come in your life for a season.
You do.
And that's okay. And sometimes it's tough to recognize that, like, oh, like, I thought we were going to be best friends.
Forever.
We met and we were so cool because we understand this lifestyle. But now it's like we kind of grew apart. And that's fine. You know, I had a hard time accepting that. It's like, oh, like, I thought this group here, we were going to be super close and do all these things together. But no, and I understand life gets in the way. And everyone starts to have their families and so forth. But just understanding that piece. And then to your point, like, time doesn't mean anything. You don't have to be friends for such a long period of time to say, like, I'm really good friends with Sarah. Or, you know, with Rachel and Amber. Like, we just clicked. And I feel like it's important to, you know, nurture those relationships because
Absolutely.
I feel like these are the people who are going to be in your lives for the long haul.
Well, I'll say doing stuff like this, it always kind of reinforces those friendships. Doing stuff where we experience new things together. It's fun.
Yeah. It's good.
And letting other spouses see this type of relationship, even if we're not close to someone, maybe showing them that it's safe to come to one of us if they need anything at all. Even if we're not besties.
Right.
It's a safe
Because we
space.
do get it.
Yeah. Right. Well, and I think that's a really good thing to even say, is that y'all are modeling that, and then people that are coming into this lifestyle are going to see what this looks like. It's almost like, this is what y'all should, I mean, this is what people should aspire to if you're in this lifestyle, right? Like, y'all, this is y'all's lifeline. Like, could you even imagine doing that without, you know, these women
Well,
next
the
to you?
unfortunate
no
thing
way.
is that some people do have to do it alone.
totally.
Right?
There's
no way.
And the unfortunate thing is not everyone has the space where they come in and can create this. And so I think that's why we recognize the specialness of this and the unique,
need for it.
Yeah, that's, I mean, that's what I want to help people to do is create those spaces because we're human and we need it to survive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't just live life by yourself. You can't survive that way.
So if somebody's in this lifestyle, first responder lifestyle, what would y'all's recommendation be if they're feeling alone, if they don't have this kind of a community? Where would you suggest that they start and they try to develop that?
Well, not every department
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
things available.
Right.
But most departments do have a Facebook page or an Instagram page or some kind of getting connected with people page. I don't know. I guess that would be
there's
a first
national
step.
ones too. Yeah, I mean, Facebook has a lot of big. I'm on a couple big groups now. I'll be honest, some of them get a little bit negative, but for the most part, they're very uplifting and supportive in the sense that people feel connected to them, even though physically or personally they might not be connected to know people individually. But that might be a start.
Yeah.
Right? It's not going to be,
right.
it's not going to be
Just
perfect,
something.
but it's going to help them not feel so alone. Because there are women that go on those pages that say, hey, I need a moment. I need help with this. And 10 people will comment and say, oh, hey, blah, 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 giving suggestions, support, resources, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So there is stuff like that. And that's what I would recommend for someone who just doesn't have the space personally to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too, I'll just say this, the firefighter experience is different depending on where they are and what type of firefighter they are.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of different types of firefighters other than career firefighters like ours are. So I think that's something
That
else.
makes a difference. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, so the point is just find a way to get connected, whether that's through like a national organization or otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah, just
And building a network, right? When you get into this space, we have people outside of the fire service that are support for us. Each of us have that. So finding that too.
How would y'all recommend like other spouses developing something like this?
Come to the spouse conference.
That's Round Rock, but okay.
That's
so
why
I
it
will
was
say,
created.
I'm thinking about all these different things. Sarah and I have known each other since they stepped foot into Round Rock Fire.
I was 20.
Okay, I know babies.
Yeah.
Babies. Okay, and it wasn't until the spouse conference that really was the catalyst to just say, "Oh my gosh, we had no idea that this was the need."
Yeah.
This whole time, this was the need.
Right.
So when you ask about like how they get connected, I was like, we've known each other for so long, but it wasn't until someone said like, hey, we need to do this. We need to be vulnerable. We need to open it up and we need to do this for it to get started.
I will
Because like
say,
once it got started,
Okay, yeah.
I mean, it has been like firecrackers.
So
right?
in that
Like,
room, I will say there was a moment that first year when we started and we were sitting in the room and all the wives were talking about their experiences. The look on the guys' faces when they recognized that all their spouses were having similar experiences and no one knew.
Yeah.
I think there was a moment you could feel the tension in the room. This is the thing.
Wow.
And I think we all looked at each other and recognized that first year that like, hey, we need to support people in this because this doesn't exist.
And I do remember like I was saying that, you know, because they have to rely on each other with each other's lives, like the families really need to be just as close. And so it started off like where we made more of an effort to have not department, but like station dinners or, you know, or something like that where you're with the crew that your spouse is with day in and day out. Right. And so it started there and then it just kind of grew like, it just can't just be this. It has to be, it's gotta be bigger. It's gotta be bigger than that. But gosh, I'm telling you, over 22 years in the fire service, and this is the first time that these things have really been, you know, I guess kind of just really taking off.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so, I mean, what you're saying too is be vulnerable. Like somebody's got to start with that conversation, right? And say the hard things maybe. And because other people are probably thinking it or feeling it.
Oh, yes. But
and
not knowing that other people are feeling
100%. Yeah, you're doing that, feeling that by yourself. So if somebody can just start that conversation or arrange a station dinner, and that's where maybe some of those connections can start.
Well, and I think too, I mean, I've known Rachel for a really long time, but I've also had other fire wives that I'm good friends with that I haven't seen in years, but at the time when our husbands were working together, we were in constant contact, so I would get their numbers. So I think also taking that next step of saying, I'm going to be the one to create this, even if there's not a group or not a resource, just a personal relationship one-on-one with another spouse that you meet who works with your, their spouse works with your husband or partner. I think that one step is a big piece.
Yes.
Just to create it between you if it's not multiple people.
Yeah. Well, and like what you said, Rachel, too, that you need to kind of have that trust with the people that your spouse is working with.
Yes.
That's really important, it sounds like, to just y'all being able to compartmentalize. They're at work, and I'm going to trust that the people on their crew have their backs. Like that's a big deal here. So just getting to know the community at the station is important.
Yes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, not all departments have that support like Round Rock does. Round Rock does a really good job of creating a collective environment of support and group.
Yeah. Okay. I would like to hear, what would you say, and I don't know if y'all want to take turns, but what would y'all say to your younger self about friendship, knowing what you know now based on this group of ladies here?
Quality over quantity.
You stole it out of my mouth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't need to say anything else.
Yep. That's good. Anybody else?
I think just not taking it personal, like Darlene, like you were saying, if friendships end or dissolve in a way that are natural, right? There's no animosity involved, but sometimes those friendships, just your life goes in a different direction, and that's what happens. And so I think respecting that process and not feeling guilty about it is also a thing that I would tell my 20-year-old self, because there were times like you and I, we've been friends with forever, but our lives kind of fell off just because we didn't go downtown anymore. Like stuff like that.
Right? We grew up a little bit.
But stuff like that. So I mean, and it doesn't mean your friendship is any less. It just means it's not as visible all the time or active like it used to be.
Yeah. And it's a season. Anybody else?
No, exactly. I mean, friends are here for a season.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I feel like you learn something from it. And, there's no animosity if it does end. And if there is, like, all right, that's unfortunate.
You also learn something.
You learn something from it.
Yeah.
But I will say friendship breakups can be hard sometimes.
Oh, man.
I am
real hard.
I'm really resonating with what you're saying right now, just because I don't know if I've really kind of come to terms with when friendships end to not take it personally, because I absolutely take it personally, and think, oh God, what's wrong with me? I think that's a really great, a really great reminder, that there are people who can come and go in your life, and that is really okay if they end up going.
Yeah. So. Well, does that happen a lot in this lifestyle? I mean, people leaving, going to different stations, or I don't know. What does that look
and you
like?
have, we have experienced, I don't know, Rachel, if you've experienced this, but in the last 5-10 years, there's a lot of people that have divorced and separated and had issues
the entire time,
the entire time. Just this last year, there was 3 or 4 couples that we knew that divorced, and we're like, wait, what?
Wow.
And half the time you don't even know it's coming, right? You don't see it. It's kind of one of the things that happens under the radar. And so that's hard, because
it's really hard not to take it personally.
Yeah.
To be like, is that our life? Is that,
or to be nervous about it, right?
Yeah.
Because our lifestyle does have a higher likelihood of that happening, not necessarily statistically, but I mean, just because of the stress that we're involved in.
Yeah. So then, I mean, what does that look like when those, I mean, is it kind of what y'all are saying? Just that's what's going to happen, and just learning from that and letting that relationship go? Or
I think sometimes it's hard for me personally. I can think of a couple in my mind. Obviously, I'm not going to say it, but I think the hard part is the husbands or the spouses still work together.
Right.
But the spouses
That's what
that
I'm
were
thinking.
involved that are no longer are not, but you're still friends with them. And so navigating that,
gotta
or
be
you
tricky.
think you're friends with them or you're not sure. Like, I think it depends. It's a case by case situation, because I think, Rachel and I have a couple people that we know collectively together that are in that space. And every once in a while we're like, hey, blah, 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 have you talked to so-and-so? And we're like, oh, I don't know. And, and so it's I think that's the only space where we're really uncomfortable in the sense of, I don't know how to navigate this.
Yeah. Well, that's tricky.
True.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. You're not in that space. You're not in that home, right? You don't know what's happened, but at the same time, you want to support both sides of it. But at the same time, there's all different things that can happen. So I think that's hard.
Yeah.
It's a hard space to be
Well,
in.
and you'll get so close, like you'll get so close because you have to. I mean, that's what this whole conversation has been like. And then all of a sudden it's like,
Well, and I've had a spouse personally call me and say, hey, I just wanted to call and let you know this is happening. He hasn't told anybody, but here's what's happening. And I love you. I want to tell you, I might not talk to you or see you again, but this is why.
Wow.
And it's
That's
happened,
hard.
and it broke my heart.
Of course,
because
sure,
this person I loved, and we were really good friends. You get all emotional. And it makes you sad because this lifestyle can tear so many people apart and so many families apart, and it shouldn't happen, but it does.
Yeah.
And so it's sad, and it's disappointing for them because they have to go through that.
Yeah. Well, and probably hard as a friend to not know even how you can show up for them.
Yeah.
It just it's complicated. It's not clear cut. It's not like, well, I'm your girl, so we're friends. Like it's
hard.
There's too many strings attached to that. Yeah. That's tough. Okay.
Wow, I didn't expect that to go there.
Was there anything that we didn't cover that y'all want to before I jump into our last question about self-care? Is there anything we didn't touch on?
I don't think so. I mean, I think we can keep going, but how much time do we have?
I know.
What else do you want to know?
Yeah, I don't know. What else should we know? What else do y'all want people to hear?
I just hope this continues. That's all I have to say. I hope it gets better. I hope it gets bigger. I hope more people experience this because it means so much and it gives so much life in a space that's hard.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I think this conversation shows that it can happen, right? Like, and I think that's what's important about people seeing friendships in different stages and different lifestyles with different, combinations of people is that it can happen. And so that's the encouragement is this is possible. It's possible in a crazy lifestyle like this where schedules are having to be flexible and no expectations and worry and compartmentalizing. It can happen. And somebody just kind of has to take that first step and be vulnerable and do it. Yeah. I think that's what y'all are telling everybody. And I think that's a really beautiful thing that it just shows that it can happen. It can happen here. Yeah.
You're damn right.
The Kleenex, but I can't.
Okay.
Good. It's all good.
I've hoarded all my Kleenex. They're everywhere.
No, but I will add this. I'm just so grateful to have met all of you. I mean, we're getting things done. I know that I'm newer to the fire department. I mean, my husband and I have been dating for 5 years, but then, we're married for 3, so I understand the lifestyle. But when I first joined, I'm just like, who are my people? Who can I lean on? And don't get me wrong, there's some girls that I've met that really dear friends. But just the fact that you all truly care about this community and are getting things done and want to continue to grow the programs. I mean, Sarah, like, oof, your mind, the way it works, I'm like, damn.
Sometimes I wish I could turn it off.
Yeah, I'm like, how do you have the bandwidth for all that? Like, oh my God,
I get that
you're like
question a lot.
overwhelmed. It's just me. But, it feels good.
Yeah,
that we all
does.
have one mission.
It's a safe place
Yeah.
for me.
Well, and you know what I love is that this all started from a place of love, right? It all started from a place of caring for someone else and saying, I care about you in this space, even though you're not in this space.
Yeah.
Talking about your husband. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just go around. For you, Amber, what does self-care look like? How do you take care of yourself well these days?
Well, I can tell you what I did yesterday.
Yeah,
and y'all
what'd you
might
do?
laugh, but it was amazing.
What'd you do?
Wait, what's today?
Today's Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
So Thursday.
Okay.
Wait, let me look at my calendar. Let me see what I did. I don't know.
Thursday morning, Daniel came home from the fire station. Mm-hmm. Rough night, so he needed to sleep. I dropped our 3-year-old off at the Mother's Day Out program that she goes to. And then I went to our downtown area where we live, and I went antique shopping. I didn't buy one thing, but for me, I love antiques. I love antique plateware and glasses and books. So I literally, for an hour and a half, just went, and it was quiet time for me. It was healing time. It was just like okay, this is me. I'm doing what I want, and I don't have anyone talking to me. It was my time for an hour and a half, and it was the most amazing. I don't get that too often. It was just my time. I didn't go get my nails done. My hair, I wasn't due for an appointment yet. So I just went perusing through the antique shops. And I told Daniel when I got back after he woke up from his nap, I said, "Thanks, I needed that." And he said, "I needed that too."
That's so lovely.
Do you like all this?
We're going to have to go antiquing.
That's what it sounds like.
Especially like glasses. Oh my god! But then John makes me like get rid of stuff. If I'm like going to bring more stuff in, he makes me get rid of stuff. And so I'm like, I need it all.
I don't have a lot of space for things, so I didn't buy anything. But I will buy. My dream is to have a vintage book library.
What?
Do you love the way they smell?
The way they smell,
Oh my
the way they
gosh.
feel.
Yes.
It's just the most amazing thing. So, yes, I just like
Did
to
you
go
on
and
Salado?
look. Yeah.
Okay,
We have a bunch of boutiques.
That one that's on the corner.
Fletcher's.
Yeah.
Fun.
All right, Rachel, what about you? What did you do to take care of yourself well?
Okay. I would say that I'm better about it now than before because now I have adult children and I don't have to worry about I can just leave and it's fine. Mm-hmm. I have prioritized going to the Y, and then I got off of all social media because I was doom scrolling way too much and it was eating up way too much of my time and it was feeding into a lot of self-doubt that I just don't need any extra help on because I do just fine on my own. And so I start the morning, every morning, having a cup of coffee and reading, actually reading a book. And that has been really nice. Mm-hmm. And trying to find time to get together with my girls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. What about you, Darlene? How do you take care of yourself well?
Oh man, well, I am self-care queen.
Yes.
I'm all about
This is why she looks like this.
Gorgeous.
I am all about skincare. So I have my routine, morning, night. I get my monthly facials. I make it a priority. I love it. It's, an hour and a half of just pure bliss.
Yes.
And just having, girl chat with my esthetician. She's amazing. Evelyn in Austin. And I love going to Pilates. I haven't been as active lately.
Did you do the Reformer Pilates?
Reformer
Oh my
Pilates.
gosh, I love it.
Yes. True Core here in Georgetown, the Square. I love it. They're amazing, all their instructors, and I would love to take a class with our hubbies. Do a life and watch them struggle because Ryan's all oh, that's
It's a hot mess.
It is. It is. Your legs get all shaky. And you're like, oh my gosh.
But it's a short-term shaky.
Yeah.
Okay, it's hard.
I really love bar Pilates. I think
Bar is
Bar is hard, too.
Bar
It's
Pilates
hard.
is my favorite, and it kicks your butt. Literally, it's awesome.
Yeah. So, some of the
I'm down whenever y'all are ready.
Let's make our husbands do it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Love it. All right, what about you, Sarah? What's your way of taking care of yourself?
Well, lately I haven't done as much as I should. Let's just say that. Usually it's being active of some sort, but I've found deep self-care would be a retreat somewhere. I've done that twice in the last 3 or 4 years, and gone for a week to do something just for me. And I find that I am able to center who I am in that moment. Because you can't do that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You can just show up for a week and you're like, oh, this is who Sarah is. And so that's become something that every 3 or 4 years I'm like, I need to go do that. I need to just
by
reset
yourself.
who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every 3
And
or
I'm
4
saying
years.
that because I want these three to do
do that.
with me.
I was sitting there going, I was like, have you ever done
Because I've done I've done a fitness retreat, and this last October I went to California for a riding retreat, and so it was very soulful, very peaceful. Y'all just got so much done. So stuff like that. But every day to day, it's more fitness, taking care of myself. I give myself facials at home because I can't afford it, nor can I leave by myself. But anytime I get out by myself, and also taking walks with my neighbors, I've started doing this again, where at night when the kids go to bed, I text my neighbor group girlfriends, and I'm like, hey, let's go for a 10-minute walk or a 15-minute walk.
That's good.
And it's this type of stuff where you just go and you have conversations with people that care and love you, and you're like, I don't know what we're going to talk about. It doesn't matter. We just have that time. So I need that for my soul.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for coming and saying yes and sitting on my couch and telling us all the things. Like
This is awesome.
I mean, this is such a
When
good.
are we going to get to come again? Because this is fun.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, we can do this all the time. Just give me ideas. Y'all welcome anytime. No, but really, like I think the encouragement and all the things that y'all are saying here can be applied to different groups of people. But I think this is a very unique lifestyle, first responders. And I think it's very easy to fall into this idea of, it's too hard. It's too hard to find community. It's too overwhelming. But I just want this group and this conversation to be a testimony that it can happen, and it can happen in a really beautiful way. It can happen really quickly. Like, you don't have to know people for 20 years to feel that connection, and you just kind of have to put yourself out there. So thank y'all. Thank y'all for saying all that.
Thank you for having us.
Yes,
Thank you.
Okay, how many times did y'all get goosebumps? There were just so many good nuggets in there, not only about friendship, but also just about forming community, even in an environment where there's a lot of uncertainty, right? Something that really stood out to me as I was listening to these women speak was how there are so many things that they just understand about one another because of the lifestyle that they're all living and that commonality that comes with living the first responder lifestyle. And so as a result, like they mentioned, they're just very real with one another. Authenticity is super important. And I think going into this lifestyle and understanding this lifestyle with a level of authenticity is how you form community. And the women said that's how they became fast friends. They may not have known each other for a really long time. They feel so close because there's just so much that they understand about one another because of this lifestyle that they all live. And as they said, not everybody is going to be as close to one another, but I think the thing that I want everybody to sort of take into consideration as they step away from this conversation is hearing that no matter the circumstances of your community, of your lifestyle, there is a way to find closeness and to find support within one another. These women have a natural way of bonding because of their lived experiences, and that does help to form the community. But also they were all very open to wanting community and to being authentic within the community so that they could find closeness with those around them. So as they spoke, not every fire department, not every first responder department has a community like this, but it is possible to create that. And it may just mean going first. It may mean being vulnerable. And it may mean just being curious and seeking out those connections in a way that feels true to you. I hope this was encouraging for you all, even if you're not in the first responder lifestyle, but also really appreciating the sacrifices that not only the men and women that are first responders make, but also their families. The information included in this podcast does not replace that of your own professional therapy. If you believe you are in need of professional assistance, please reach out to the medical community in your area. The Couch Next Door with Candace Frazier was created by me, Candace Frazier. Graphics by Jason Frazier. Music by Josh Bissell. You can find the show notes and affiliate links on CandaceFrazierLPC.com. Click on the tab podcast and you'll find all podcast related content there. I'd love to connect with you on Instagram. Find me at Candace Frazier LPC. Give the show a rating or review wherever you listen to podcasts. This really helps get the show to more listeners in the world, and I would be so grateful to see what you all are loving. Until next time, show kindness to yourself and those around you.